It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
All right, let's go to Gordon Chang. He's got some hot news. Gordon, how are we doing?
I'm fine, John, and thank you so much. And on Tuesday, in other words, today, we had live fire drills by China in the Taiwan Strait, extremely provocative. And these follow last Monday's exercises around Taiwan. They were a record number of planes, and for the first time, China used the Coast Guard. Coast Guard is significant because the Coast Guard is only supposed to be used for domestic activities, and that means they're saying that Taiwan is a domestic part of China.
Wow.
You know, Gordon, what about all these North Korean troops? I mean, there's reports it's 11,000, up to 11,000 North Korean troops heading to Russia to help them fight Ukraine. I mean, this is like, I hate it really, is this war expanding? I mean, this is scary.
It is expanding. There's 4 combat brigades, about 12,000 of North Korea's finest troops, special operators. And they, some of them are already there. Some of them are on the way. 6 North Koreans have already been killed in Ukraine, and probably there are more. Some people say 18. But the point is that this war is expanding because North Korea has now committed ground troops. And clearly, China is not that far behind. There are actually Chinese volunteers fighting for Russia in Ukraine. We haven't seen regular Chinese units, though, but we can't count that out. I suspect Beijing believes that it can get by with just the North Koreans, but if they can't, then this war will expand even further.
Wow. You know, what is the reaction? Have you seen?
So, the question you should be asking our listeners, do you trust Kamala Harris to handle this war?
That's a great point because it's exploding, John.
I mean, this is crazy what's going on.
It is crazy. Explain the huge difference, Gordon, obviously.
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris said she would do nothing different than Biden. Well, Biden was the one who opened the door to the invasion of Ukraine with this catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. Biden's policies before the invasion in February 2022 obviously didn't stop Vladimir Putin. So if she's as good as her word, that means she would have adopted the same policies leading to the same disasters. So I don't think that we can trust her to rescue us from what could very well be the test case, because basically China, Russia, North Korea see this as the battle for the world. They believe that they can win everything in Ukraine, and that means we have got to have a similar response.
Wow. And as we're looking, I mean, it could actually escalate under her. I mean, I have no confidence. She's been even more vocal. Craig Eaton.
Gordon, let's not forget the Biden release of the $7 billion in the frozen Afghan funds that was given out right before the attacks.
Right. And also you have the money that was unfrozen on the September 11th, 2023 deal and the $86 billion worth of equipment that we left in Afghanistan, which will be used against us at some point. This has really been disastrous policy. And, you have President Biden just been wrong on everything. Now, we can argue about why he was wrong, but the point is this is just one catastrophe after another.
Can we afford 4 more years of this? That's really the question that our listeners really need to think of. 4 more years of this administration, which is going to be a continuation if Kamala wins.
A disaster.
It's going to be a disaster. It's just going to continue. The United States needs some strength here.
I just want to tell the stock market guys, the Dow Jones is at 43,000. If it goes forward and you have all those wars escalating, I think you're going to have it at 23,000.
Or lower. What we're talking about really is global conflict because we have China's fighting proxy wars in Europe, in Ukraine, across North Africa, and the Middle East. If you have a war in East Asia, that really looks like World War III because remember, in the 1930s, we had separate wars that merged into what we now call World War II. We're seeing the same dynamic today, guys.
Yeah, big time. And if not even, it's so scary with Biden. And believe me, he made so many mistakes. Just ask Robert Gates, the former defense secretary, who says he was always on the wrong side of history. Kamala, she doesn't even have the depth, the knowledge, Gordon. And these are very complex issues, which we're talking about, and high stakes. And let's not forget, Russia's a nuclear nation, too. This is scary stuff.
Yeah, and North Korea and China are nuclear as well. Robert Gates, in his 2014 memoir, said, and this is almost a direct quote, Joe Biden has been wrong on nearly every foreign policy and national security matter of the past 4 decades. Gates was right about that, because we have seen essentially a peaceful world that Trump left to Biden, and now we're on the verge of global conflict. So whatever one can say, clearly Biden's policies have failed across the board.
Gordon, you're a smart guy. You're as smart as they come. Why doesn't the American people realize what the heck is going on?
I wish I were smart enough to answer that question, John. I think it's because we're so focused on domestic problems right now. And, most American elections are decided on the economy and things that are happening at home. This election is even more consequential because we see what's happening in our schools to our children. And that, of course, is emotional. And that, of course, focuses all our attention. Biden has done his best to try to prevent the American people from talking about foreign matters, and he's been successful in that regard.
By the way, breaking news on Fox, I'm watching it, 57% Hispanic vote, 57%.
52% to 47, which is for Kamala, but that's a big win for Trump because
47,
normally
the Republicans never got 47%.
Exactly. That's very close for a Republican. That's incredible. It shows a lot of them are going to Trump.
Yes, and you shouldn't be surprised because Hispanics in the United States, they look at what's happening at our southern border, and they're disgusted as much as we are because they came in legally, and they don't like what they're seeing.
Yeah, including a Chinese coming in, among others. Gordon Chang, thank you. We
so
love
much,
having you on, Gordon.
Keep fighting for America, Gordon.
I will, and thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Love having you on.